All right, here's a question. So how much traction can an anti-conspiracy theory message from a Republican get in a red district? The answer is not much at all. Michael Wood, a major in the Marine Corps Reserves, ran for Congress in this special election in Texas. He is a Republican. He is a critic of the big lie and, to an extent, a critic of the former president. He finished ninth with only 3% of the vote. Michael Wood joins me now. Major, it's great to have you on with us. Thank you so much for being here. The Washington Post says you were the only Republican candidate who ran on the notion that the 2020 election was fair. The only one, and you got your clock cleaned. So what does that tell you?
Yeah, it's, there are a number of things that went into this. I am a first-time candidate. We were dramatically outspent, unfortunate ballot placement in a very crowded field. But all of that aside, yeah, there's people didn't like my message. I don't want to make excuses. Sometimes you can run a great campaign and, if the dog doesn't like the dog food, then, you're not going to get many votes, which is what I think happened a few days ago.
The dog food was speaking the truth, though, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very unfortunate. Whenever I first, started to get interested in politics, the debates were things about the size and the scope of the government, government action versus the free market, things like that. But it seems like right now the dividing line in our politics is going to be between those who speak the truth and those who engage in conspiracy theories, and that's really unfortunate. I mean, not for me. I'm going to be fine. I am fine, but I am worried about the direction of my party and the direction of the country.
We heard Mitt Romney get booed at a Utah Republican convention. How were you received out on the trail?
Well, I did get booed. I was booed whenever I stood up initially and said what I said about Donald Trump, and whenever I stood up and I defended Liz Cheney. It was a very hectic 2 months. There were people who were very grateful that I was saying what I was saying. There were people who were really upset with me. I did have people who were actually there on January 6th who were filled with conspiracy theories and lies and were very, very angry with me. I think that things are bad for my party, and I am concerned about the country. This is just one data point, and I'm not sure how much it says about the rest of the country, but taking my ego out of it, I think it is very concerning how things are going.
If buying into a conspiracy, if believing a lie is the price of admission to the Republican Party as it's constituted right now, why join the party?
I don't know. I think a whole lot of people like me are in a really difficult spot. The Democratic Party, I can't be a Democrat. I don't want to be a Democrat. I have honest disagreements with them. But yeah, I guess the question is this sort of a fever for the Republican Party that hopefully will break, if not this year, then hopefully soon, then we can start the work of rebuilding it? Or, is this just going to be what we are going forward completely? I think that if it's the latter, we're not going to have a Republican Party for too much longer. There are people who are just simply not going to call themselves Republicans if we don't move past these conspiracy theories and this horrible cult of personality that we built up around Donald Trump over the past 4 years.
I read you said something interesting, or interested me, as to who you blame for this, because there's clearly something on the demand side here, which is that voters are demanding you commit to the big lie. But you said you don't blame them. You say that would be like blaming a private for losing a war. What do you mean?
I think that elected officials, those who are in leadership positions, should act like leaders. Most people, I don't want to sound condescending, that's certainly not what I mean, but most people don't put politics, at the front and the center of their lives, and they look to members of Congress, they look to the President of the United States to speak honestly about what's happening. And the founders were very wise and very right to warn us about demagogues who would play to the passions of the people irresponsibly. I think there's been a lot of that that's happened over the past 5 years. And, you know, one of the most disappointing things about what happened on January 6th, which was bad enough, was that it felt like there was about 48 hours there where the spell was going to be broken, where, you know, Republicans, you know, even people like Lindsey Graham and even Kevin McCarthy were going to stand up and say, this is unacceptable, this is a line we will not cross, this isn't how we do things in America. And then they fell in line really, really quickly. And then a few weeks later, Kevin McCarthy was down in Mar-a-Lago taking that stupid, horrible photograph with the former president.
Why'd they cave?
I think leaders need to lead.
Why'd they cave?
Because it's not very much fun losing an election. I think that it's not very much fun being booed, and I don't know. I think that whenever you take an oath of office, you should take that seriously, and I wish that they would have.
What does it say to you? And you're a Marine. I mean, you know about bravery. But what does it say to you that somehow political bravery now has become not buying into a conspiracy?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like in a lot of ways we've gone through a looking glass, and those of us in the party who are against insurrection and lying are finding ourselves turned into fringe candidates. It's a sad commentary on the party. It's a sad commentary on the country. You know, I think that, I mean, there are a lot of things that go into this. I think that if you run for office and if you get elected to Congress, you've got to be willing to lose it, you know, or else you can't do the job. I think a lot of people have their egos and their entire personalities tied up with being a member of Congress and all the perks that go along with that. I think they need to be willing to walk away from it. And I think they need to think not just about the next election or the next news cycle. I think they need to think about history. I think they need to think about how they're going to be judged and you know, what future generations are going to say about this moment. And unfortunately, it really does kill me to say this as a proud, or a once proud Republican. We're not living up to this moment, with a few brave exceptions like Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger and Mitt Romney.
Michael Wood, Major, we appreciate your time. Thank you for being with us this morning. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.